Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Today we are doing a yap session disguised as a get ready with me because I can't really justify talking to a camera for like minutes without doing anything. Before we dive into it, I do want to say that as much as I love the quirk of saying dropping out because it's like so out of character, I do have to get my facts straight, and I did not drop out. It's more like I graduated early. We left school with flying colors. So I don't want to start my makeup without moisturizing my face because the texture will really show. Anyways, so I feel like the decision of dropping out has been marinating in my head since like even before the results of NCA came out in January. Here's moisturizer. I'm using the Centella green one. I pretty much already knew that I was gonna get into university before the year ends this year. It kind of made a lot of sense to like leave earlier than everyone else because I didn't really need to be there. The reason why I was able to do this so early is because I've always been a high achiever. Like ever since year 9 I was doing level 1 NCA. I did the MCAT when I was in year 9, which if you didn't know is 2 years early because you're supposed to do the MCAT when you're in year 11, and I did it when I was in year 9. So that's where that started. So I did maths and science a year ahead of me, which opened up to more subjects being ahead of me. This had a lot of influence in why I left high school early, but I will talk about that later. Not only because this pathway pretty much guaranteed me into university, this pathway that I chose when I was 13 years old, but I also want to talk about the mental implications this had on me over the last 5 years. I'm not really doing what I usually do on a daily basis because on a daily basis I pretty much just chuck on concealer and like, I don't know. I don't really want to talk while I blend this out because like, look at me. This is what I look like and I don't want to speak like this. Now that I'm out of school, I kind of realize that there's like a misconception that I made where I'm like, well, it's not a big deal because I live so close to school that I can just show up when I wanted to. No, that's high-key embarrassing. Like, we do not want to hop back in after we left. I feel like there was definitely certain moments that it hit me where I was like, everything that I cared about for the last 5 years of my life, I literally just got up and walked away. Like 5 years is a good chunk of my childhood. I kind of grew up in that school. Something that I had to get used to is kind of like not seeing my friends at lunch every day. Imagine seeing your friends every day at 1:30 and then the next week you're at home at 1:30 and you just woke up. Kind of don't realize how much you'll miss it until you're out of there. Another misconception that I had before I left was like, after I leave, the amount of free time that I have will be insane and I will just feel so liberated and happy. The high achiever tendencies are kind of kicking in. Like, I'm looking for the next big thing to do and I kind of put the same pressure on myself about deadlines. Most of the time I'm on my computer and I'm really worried about how that's gonna affect my eyes. I feel like I'm constantly thinking about all the things that I want to accomplish in this like little gap semester, and it's really overwhelming me a little bit. I just feel like I keep running out of time. I also have to battle procrastination because imagine when you're at school, like you're not allowed your phone. It's like that's like a rule. When you're at home, my phone is with me 24/7. Gosh, why am I getting so non-verbal while I do my makeup? This is so bad. Anyways, next topic. Despite everything that I literally just complained about, I am really grateful that I was able to leave school early because now I can do whatever I want with my time and kind of schedule things the way I want to schedule them. The thing that I was pausing to talk about, I want to talk about now. So how my experience in high school kind of led to this decision. Being ahead of school definitely had its advantages, but it also meant that while I was at school, it took so much effort to keep everything up, like so much effort. I just felt like I've been taking exams for the last 5 years and it kind of felt repetitive. What I was doing wasn't exactly repetitive. Like there's not really a day in school where everything is the same. You know, you learn different things and stuff. You interact with different people, but it felt repetitive because I was in the same environment. And like everyone goes through the same thing. I feel like everyone has different feelings towards it. Like I didn't really want to go there anymore, but some people like kind of just accept it as how it is. Like you know, like it is what it is. Eventually I got tired and like burnt out, and my motivation to go to school was so bad. Like last year my attendance was like 80 something, and it was just so bad. I was staying at home, like my motivation was down, but we don't talk about that. And on top of academics, I was also juggling extracurriculars. I joined 12 things last year, and I have the certificates to prove it. This was not part of the script. Do you see this? This is all my awards, like academic awards, and my service awards to the school because of all the things that I joined. These are all certificates that I've accumulated over the last 5 years. I was juggling that alongside everything else. I'm not gonna lie though, like the first 3 years was a walk in the park. Like I don't want to really say that because it wasn't a walk in the park for everybody. That's pretty much what high school experiences led me to this decision. And if you haven't noticed, my script is right here. That's why I keep looking down. The turning point for me definitely was when I noticed that my grades were starting to slip, and that's so out of character because for the last 5 years I've been getting grades that have been, I wouldn't say exceptional, but they were excellences like through and through. Like it was crazy. But then my grades definitely started to slip, and that's when I kind of realized that I was really actually over it. On top of that, like I really didn't think I was doing a lot of things outside of school. I feel like even outside of school I was doing school, so I couldn't really focus on things like YouTube or like making videos. And I really wanted to. It takes so much energy to edit videos, and that energy kind of goes into school, so at the end of the day I'm just tired. And I know there's a lot of other people there who are kind of doing the same volume as I'm doing, but like people have different levels of stress management, stress levels like that they can handle, and I'm definitely down in the lower spectrum. I'm not meant to have a stressful life. I wanted to pursue other things outside of school and didn't really have the time for it. Anyways, so now that I'm out of school, I'm actually able to make videos and film whenever I wanted to. For this like little gap semester, I really want to focus on the things that I wasn't paying attention to when I was at school. I want to like focus on personal growth and having a routine, like a morning routine that I will actually like to do. Take a slow life before I go back into university, because we are going to university. I am doing engineering. I want to do engineering in semester 1 2025. That's the reason why I actually went into school this year, even though I knew I was gonna get into university, was because when I got my scores from last year, I got a rank score, an NCA rank score of 196, and I needed 260 points. That meant I was short of 64 points, which is equivalent to like 4 internals that I have to get excellences. So I went into school this year with a strategy to just get these last points and then dip. I want to do really well in engineering next year, so in this little gap semester I'm also planning to revise and kind of retouch on these areas, because I actually haven't been doing physics or calculus in the last year because I did it when I was in year 12, so I didn't have to do it this year. I am so scared that next year my brain is too fried to actually do well, or as well as I would expect to, but we'll worry about that next year. Okay, so moving on, after yapping about my experiences and what led me to this decision, would I recommend doing this? If you have the capabilities, if you're already there, like if you know that you don't need to stay for the whole year, then yeah, go for it, because why would you stay? But it's so important to make an informed decision before you just dip out of school, because like imagine leaving and then realizing you needed more things and going back into school. I would change schools. If you're in the position where you were able to accelerate ahead of everybody else, I feel like you really need to consider the future. When I was in year 9, when I was 13, and I was given this opportunity, I was kind of thinking about how cool it was to accelerate and be ahead of everyone else. That's what I was thinking about. I wasn't thinking about myself. I was thinking about how cool it was to be ahead of everyone else. And that's not how you should see it. I feel like there isn't really a point of going ahead of everybody, because now I'm realizing like at the end of the day we are gonna end up in the same place, and I feel like that's a big influence on why I left as well. I feel like I couldn't really see the fruit of my hard work over the last 5 years. Part of the decision of me leaving was like me leaving early is the fruit of my hard work over the past 5 years. This is really the only difference. Like, I guess point of it is like you get to learn more, but this is really the important bit where it's like what's really the reason behind why you want to accelerate. While I was scripting this video, I actually realized that that's why I left. That's a big reason why I left. If I was gonna talk to someone who wants to accelerate, do it for a genuine purpose of learning rather than to get ahead of everybody else, because you're not actually getting ahead of everybody else. I need to keep up with my makeup because she's not progressing very well, and I'm almost at the end of this yapping session. As I'm reflecting over the last 5 years, I'm just kind of glad that I will never have to do that again, but at the same time I'm also really sad to leave this chapter behind. Also, like, I know I put layers and layers of makeup on my face, but it actually does not feel heavy. And I love that, because when it feels heavy, I tend to scratch. When I was 15, I was doing my makeup really well. The thing was, like, it was so heavy. It was so heavy. I was wearing false lashes to school every day, and I genuinely could not understand how I was able to cope with that, because those things are just irritating to my eye. I'm definitely not mad about how things turned out. In fact, I am quite pleased that I was able to leave school early. Although obviously these thoughts linger in your mind, you know. I have these thoughts and I have these questions, and I ponder about how life might have been different if I didn't do all of that. I feel like I was too focused on staying ahead of everybody else. You go at your own pace. I was just not doing things for the right reasons, and that's why I feel kind of salty about it. It's just made me realize that maybe I didn't need to push so hard when I was in high school. I feel like high school is kind of also about fun and just living life. I don't know, that's my reflections of it. Like, I am super happy about where I am now, but if I were to go back to my 13-year-old self knowing what I know now, I wouldn't encourage it. So everyone is in their own pace. Anyways, here she is after the little yap session / makeup session that I really struggled with. Guys, who knew that it would be difficult to yap and makeup at the same time? I do this all the time when my friends are around me doing my makeup. Anyway, that is it for me today. I hope you liked my little yap session / get ready with me. Here's the final look. See you next time.